Hey everyone, I'm just doing a quick show off of this water material that I've been working on for a bit. Not perfect yet by any means. I definitely need to do some work on some of these meshes to get them ready for it. But in terms of just the ability to make these pipes that I have here, extremely satisfied with how this is looking now. Um, so yeah, just without getting into any technical details, I'm not gonna, or I might do a tutorial on this at some point, but not right now. Just want to do a show off. One of the things that's cool about this is one, this is a spline. So I have a spline mesh going from point to point to point, allowing me to, make these weird shapes. And in addition to that, the spline has a velocity to it. So I can go here and I can set the base speed from anywhere from just completely flat, perfect, still to, absolutely crazy fast. Um, but 500 is a good number. And then in addition to that, I can set it up so that, like here, this point is scaled so it has zero velocity. This point has a couple of, like, multiplied the velocity. This place over here, back down to zero velocity. You can also change the side profile, so these are scaled up to be wider, less wide. And all of these are different meshes, by the way. So if you see there's this tiny occasional pixels that pop up over here, that is because that's the edge of this mesh and the start of this mesh. And effectively, I've just made it so the material almost perfectly lines up over here, allowing me to just have these materials, even as they're being deformed, line up almost perfectly so that in gameplay you can't see that there's a seam there. So all of this is functional. The changes in velocity on the path actually have a change on the amount of drag that the boat experiences. So for example, you'll see that line switch over here, and that's because we're now in a current that's going much, much, much faster than us. It's one little debug line we have drawn. Um, so trying to just get the boat up these curves, rotating it right. Yeah, it's a bit of a oh no. And then obviously wider paths are a lot easier for the player to stay on. Now, whenever you're dealing with transparent things, you often have problems with either stuff trying to Z fight, like one thing wants to pop up in front of the other, or you end up with issues where you have them overlapping and you can see the same transparent material twice, even though you just want one continuous surface. And what's cool about this is the way it's done. You don't have that problem here. So I'm just going to set this to like 5 by 5 by 5. And you don't see the interior of the sphere through the water. It's one continuous surface. If you do this, it becomes part of the water. It is one continuous surface. There is no seeing one thing through the other. It's only one layer of opacity, which is a really cool effect. It means you can do a lot more interesting things with the geometry. You can have stuff clipping through itself, and you don't have to worry about those sorts of things of overlap. Just as a demonstration of this Z fighting problem, Z fighting is probably how other people say it. This is just a base water texture, and you can see the issue that comes from, like, this is a transparent texture. It has a lot of similar features to what I've got here, only, as you can see, the game can't quite figure out which of these is in front of the other between this large plane here and this large object here, because the center is technically closer. We're closer to the center of this large object than we are to the center of this one, so it assumes this is in front, even though this is actually closer over here. And so this, you know, for a minute it'll look fine, and then you start to notice it, and it's everywhere. It is just things are popping in and out. Nothing knows where it's supposed to be. And in a game where you don't have a lot of different elements like this, where there's just one flat piece of water on the ground, that's 100% fine. However, when you have a bunch of floating elements, a bunch of different pieces of water all, fitting together, completely not an option, just doesn't work at all. And then there's also a strange option, which is dithering. Dithering allows you to have all of the strengths of an opaque material, which has no Z fighting problem, and also have you know, a slightly transparent see-through material. The problem is it looks kind of, uh, after a while, it just sort of starts to feel like there's something dirty on your screen. Like it just kind of doesn't look good. The problem with having a dithered material, or one of the other problems with having a dithered material, is you can't do any sort of refraction on things that are seen through the material, just because it effectively can't affect what's behind it. It can't view what's behind it. It's further in the like processing pipeline. It hasn't seen, or the image hasn't been generated in the first place when these pixels are placed. Um, so yeah, you don't have the same kind of effect that you can have with a translucent material or with a post-processed material like this. It also has some difficulties figuring out what it wants to be when lighting happens. I'm sure there's a way to work around that, but it can behave strangely, especially when you're inside it or in the shadow of a dither material. It sometimes struggles to know what it wants to be. The first iteration I had at this actually that avoided the issue of seeing things through each other was, well, you just make it opaque. And, you know, if you just want to go with that art style, that's fine. I don't, that's not the direction I wanted to go, but for most games, just having opaque water is probably going to be 100% fine unless you're trying to go for photorealistic graphics. I would say just do something simple like this and then stylize around it rather than trying to go crazy making, complex shaders unless you need to. I want to mention that no solution is perfect and all of them have their downsides. One of the big downsides with this one that I haven't found a way around yet is there's no good way to see this water through itself. And what I mean by that is, as soon as I do this, those big blocks over here completely vanish. I can't see them and I have no way to see them. I've tried a couple solutions for this, and what I ended up coming up with was it's probably fine. But yeah, uh, no solution is 100% perfect, but this one is what I need for what I'm doing, and that's got to be good enough. I'll just mention, since this is one of the few projects that I'm not doing solo, that I'm not doing the level design for this, so that's why we're just hanging out here in the dev world. There has been level design progress, and I'm gonna let my partner show that off at his pace, and I'm just gonna keep working on systems and making sure everything works the way it should and looks how it should. So, thanks for watching, and uh, I guess you stay tuned. There's going to be more of this. I probably should have done this from the very start, but I changed the velocity on these materials, and now they don't come apart at the seams. They don't have weird white lines all over them. They look a bit better. That this is a last minute thing. Whoops.